Hello, and welcome to part 2 of the MapleHearts County Sheriff's Office Training Guide. Here you will learn the following field operations: traffic stops, vehicle pursuits, precision intervention tactics with a patrol vehicle, other known as a pit maneuver, foot pursuits, felony stops, building clearing, and deputy awareness. First topic of discussion today will be traffic stops. Please remember that the speed limit set for the towns and cities in the state of MapleHearts is 45. It is 65 when on county roads and 80 miles an hour when on major highways. Traffic stops are conducted for a large array of reasons each and every day. When it is time for you to conduct a traffic stop, always remember to give the following information to dispatch and/or your fellow deputies. Be sure to announce your call sign and state that you are on a 1011. Give the direction of travel, followed by the street that you are on. Then, state your closest postal. Once you've stated your postal, then give a brief description of the vehicle, such as a 4-door black sedan. Be sure to announce how many people are in the vehicle. Also be sure to announce if you are unable to see how many people are in the vehicle. Once you have stated the above, be sure to conclude with if you need an additional unit or not. Here is an example of how to properly transmit a message over the radio when conducting a 1011. 103 1011 westbound Davis Ave, closest postal 1234, 4-door black sedan occupied ×1, no additionals. This is the guideline that you'll follow each time that you are conducting a form of a 1011. Once you have completed your transmission, then exit your vehicle to approach the vehicle that you are conducting the traffic stop on. When on approach, make sure you are doing it in a safe manner and always maintaining absolute awareness. When you get to the window, watch in the clouds. See if people are doing something that they should not be or have something that they should not have. Always observe the subject's behavior, as it may be important to your situational awareness. When you get to the window, ask the person to roll the window down. Once they have done this, you will use the following example statement to give to the person you are interacting with. Hi, I'm Deputy Alano with the MapleHearts County Sheriff's Office. Do you know why I stopped you today? Let them respond. Once they have responded, explain the reason for the stop. Here's an example. I clocked you doing 55 and a 45. Is there any reason for this? Once you have concluded your questioning, request the person's license, registration, and proof of insurance. Once you've collected this information, run it through the MTT to make sure that there are no outstanding warrants and to make sure that the vehicle is registered to the person driving. The MDT will be covered more in your initial ride along with an FTO. We will now demonstrate a 1011. 103, going to be 1011, Dutch London Street, eastbound. Going to be nearest postal 9197. Going to be out with a gray 4-door sedan, occupied ×1, no additionals.
Oh, is there a problem, officer?
Hey, how's it going? It's Deputy Alano with the MapleHearts County Sheriff's Office. You know why I'm stopping you today?
No, I don't think I was speeding.
No, it wasn't for your speed. It's the fact that you're driving around without any headlights on. Is there any reason for that today?
I don't think so.
Alright, man, we got your license, registration, proof of insurance on you?
Yeah, it should be over here somewhere in the glove box. Hang on, let me look for it.
Sure, if you can just get that to me. Perfect. Mike Contro, is it?
Yeah.
Can you verify your date of birth, Mike?
7/7/95.
Alright, sit tight. I'll be right back with you, okay?
Yeah.
At this point, you would then run the information of the person that you have received an ID from. You will make sure that the vehicle is registered to them and also ensure that there are no pending or outstanding warrants for this person.
Okay.
Alright, sir, so here's your information back.
Okay.
So I'm going to cut you a warning this time, but next time if I see you out there without your headlights on, you're going to get a ticket, alright?
Oh, thanks, officer. I really appreciate it. I'll turn them on right now for you.
Well, you drive safe out there, okay, sir?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Now let's move on to a felony traffic stop, other known as a Code 5 stop. When stopping a dangerous felon on the roadway, you must call for a Code 5 stop. Have dispatch send additional 32s and request for a Signal 100. When 2 additional units have arrived on scene, then you may initiate the Code 5 stop from a safe distance. 1 deputy will issue commands with lethal coverage. This will be the primary deputy. The secondary deputy will draw a less lethal option to cover the suspect. The primary deputy will then ask the suspect to exit their vehicle and face away and move back with their hands up to the sound of their voice. Instruct the suspect to stop when they are within a reasonable distance. The deputy covering less lethal will then move in for apprehension of the suspect. At that time, you would ask them if there are any additional suspects in the vehicle. If so, you would extract them the same way as the driver was extracted. Quickly search and place the suspects in a secure patrol unit on scene once they have been apprehended. Next, the deputies will move up with lethal coverage to ensure that all occupants have been removed. Then, you would advise dispatch how many people are in custody and also let them know if a Signal 100 can be lifted or not. In this section, we will cover vehicle pursuits. Sometimes when you are attempting to initiate a Code 5 stop or a general traffic stop, the person you are attempting to stop will refuse to stop. When a person refuses to stop, you must call out a 1080 and give your 20s every time you turn or every 10 seconds. When a secondary deputy joins, they will be the ones to take over callouts. If a secondary deputy loses visual, then the callouts will resume with the primary deputy until a secondary unit can regain view. Be cautious when driving, and don't be reckless. If a pursuit becomes too dangerous for life, safety, and property, request a helicopter, fall back to a safe distance, and avoid those collisions. Eventually, the suspect will be brought into custody, and you will then advise dispatch to lift the Signal 100. Also, if you lose the suspect, you will need to make sure that you announce that you have lost eyes on the suspect. A brief search will ensue, and if you are able to locate that suspect, the pursuit would then continue. If you are unable to locate the suspect, then you would take any information that you had to ensure that all other deputies know what to look for. Now let's move into pit maneuvers. Pit maneuvers are often utilized to end a 1080 that is in progress. This is done so that we can stop the suspect from potentially causing any additional harm to people in their paths. Information that you should know before pitting a vehicle and what you should say to dispatch is very important. Be sure to give dispatch a clear and concise size-up of what's around you. Be sure to include the speed, location, weather, level of traffic congestion. Do know that if speeds exceed 65 miles an hour, then you should not pit a vehicle. Once you have been cleared for pit by a supervisor, you would then take your push bar and utilize that on the right-hand side rear quarter panel to strike the side of the vehicle and get the vehicle to spin out. This will be shown in a demonstration and will also be taught to you on how to conduct this properly during your practical evaluation. Once a vehicle has been pitted successfully, attempt to make a box around the vehicle so the vehicle is unable to move. Take that time to make sure you are out of the path of the vehicle, as a lot of the time a suspect may still attempt to flee and could strike you in the process. Always remember that if you are in a situation where a vehicle is advancing towards you, lethal force is authorized. Now let's move into foot pursuits. Now, a lot of the time, 1080s tend to turn into a 1070. 1070 is otherwise known as a foot pursuit. When a foot pursuit occurs, be sure to give dispatch an accurate representation of where you are. Same way with a traffic stop, you should always try to give your direction of travel, street that you're on, and closest postal. As you're running, the best way to go about it is to give out any type of landmark that may help incoming deputies know where you're at. Be sure to radio for a Signal 100 if one is not already in effect for the call that you are on. Try to give dispatch and incoming units a really good description of the person evading. Be sure to include things like pants, color of their skin, hairstyle, if they have any facial hair, any information at all that may help us identify that person running from you. If a suspect needs to be tased at any point, be sure to let dispatch and or your fellow deputies know that someone has been tased by saying, "Taser deployed." When a suspect has been apprehended, be sure to transmit that information to dispatch and also ask for the Signal 100 to be lifted. Now let's move on to arrest procedures. When somebody is apprehended, there are a multitude of steps that you have to follow post-arrest. These are those steps. First and foremost, be sure to handcuff the suspect. When you go to handcuff the suspect, be sure that you have handcuffs and that they are in the proper slot and you are able to do so. Slots 1 through 5 are hotkeys, so be sure to put those cuffs in one of those slots so you can quickly and easily arrest somebody. After you have apprehended the suspect with handcuffs, be sure to grab them. Flex your F6 muscle. Once you go into F6 muscle, hit the utility belt. Once you get into your utility belt, escort the person. Once you have escorted that person, then ask that suspect if they have anything on them that could poke, stick, or stab you. They will then answer yes or no. If they fail to answer and you get stick, poked, or stabbed, then know that that is assault, and that is an additional charge that will be brought against that person. Once you have clarified if there were any objects that you should know about, you should then search the suspect, utilizing this search feature. You will then get a menu that will populate on the right hand side with the inventory of the person that you are apprehending. In there, you may find a multitude of items. Some may be legal, some may be illegal, but make sure that you know the difference. Once you have successfully searched the person, you would then place them in the vehicle. Once they are placed in the vehicle, be sure to read them the Miranda rights. Here's the example. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the state of MapleHearts. Do you understand this information in which I've read to you? They will then answer yes or no. You would follow up with, now with these rights in mind, do you wish to speak with me any further? This is commonly something that deputies miss, and we should always make sure that we're advising them before we question them further. Once you have finished up on scene, you would then transport that suspect down here to the Davis station for processing. Processing will be covered more in depth while going through your FTO evaluations. For a brief description of what will happen when you are down here, you would simply then bring the suspect down to a holding cell where they'll be placed. You would then write a report on the situation. From that report, you will gain information on how much to bill the suspect and how many months they will receive for the crimes that they have committed. Be sure to be very detail oriented in your reports, as this is something that we check periodically. Remember, when jailing a suspect, be sure to think about /jail, type in their ID, and the amount of months that they'll be serving. Do not utilize the F6 menu, as this may accidentally jail somebody in direct proximity of you. Remember, the following are the punishments that may be brought against a person involved in a violation of the law. The lowest being an infraction, the middle charge being a misdemeanor, and the highest charge being a felony. Please remember this information. Now let's talk about shots fired responses. If shots are fired and it is heard by another unit, it is imperative to call out a signal 100 along with the area in which the 1013s were heard. Any unit in the direct vicinity of the unit calling out should respond. If you are greater than 2 miles from the scene and there are at least 3 deputies within the area of the 1013s, you may not respond unless requested. If there are not 3 deputies within that area, a response is warranted, but it is always the closest available unit to go first. Always use your best judgment when it comes to the distance that you are from the scene. If you are tied up on a simple traffic infraction or a non-life-threatening call and there are no additional deputies to back the person calling out for the 1013s, then you are clear to clear that call to help out and assist on the 1013 call out. In the event that a suspect or a victim is down, the following should occur. The arriving unit should first and foremost secure any weapons on site. If a suspect is down, move up on them with adequate cover and be sure to secure that suspect and search them. Then proceed to render aid and call for a 52. If a victim or suspect is down, then we must render aid to the best of our ability to help the situation until a 1052 can arrive on scene. If there are more than 5 people down on a scene, then request an MCI response from the medical department. When we arrive on scene, we must always be extremely vigilant on who's around us and where they are. At a moment's notice, a scene can take a turn, and our job is to attempt to mitigate any further excessive escalation of a situation before it occurs. This means watching how people are acting around you and who is leaving or returning to the scene. When arriving on scene that may require detectives or other deputies working in an undercover capacity, it is important to preserve everything on scene. Remember, do not move any items until it is cleared by scene command. Make sure a tight perimeter is kept around the area that is being investigated. Do not allow anybody in or out if that area is sealed off. Be sure to question anybody who may be within the area. It is always important to find out any and all information that could help with the case.